Well, before we end the programme, let's return very much to our main story. That news from the White House we received earlier that Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID. These are the pictures from Wednesday when doctors say the first symptoms were shown, but the symptoms are mild. We saw that tweet from him a little earlier sitting at his desk saying, "I am keeping busy." So that was from the president. Jill Biden had tweeted herself a little earlier. She said that she was on the road in Detroit today, but she'd spoken to Joe a little earlier. He is feeling fine, just experiencing a few mild symptoms, and adding she had tested negative for COVID this morning. So has the Vice President, Kamala Harris. Let me show you the live pictures of the White House. They have been giving details and say they will give a daily update in terms of the President's health. So that very much our main developments from Washington. Thanks for watching today. Next up here, it's Focus on Africa. Bye-bye.
Now on BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Africa. I am Peter Okwoche. Our top stories. Tunisia prepares to vote on a new constitution, but could it undermine this fragile and new democracy?
The reference to Tunisia being a civil state is removed. There's references that all of the decisions and that all of these sort of aspects, the freedoms, all of that will be guided by sort of general Islamic principles.
Following a spate of mob lynchings in Nigeria, we take a look at the country's controversial blasphemy laws.
This trend of attacks based on the allegation of blasphemy, if it continues, will lead to Nigeria to self-destruction.
Also on the program, protecting the wildlife and the people. Could the answer come from a big conference in Kigali? We'll have the latest. And in sport, it's the CAF Awards tonight, but who will be crowned the kings and queens of African football? Thanks for joining us here on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. Tunisia is gearing up for a constitutional referendum due to be held next Monday, which could strengthen the power of President Kais Saied. Mr. Saied has ruled by decree since dissolving parliament last summer and says this will help root out corruption. Tunisia was the birthplace of the Arab Spring uprisings in 2010 and is largely viewed as a democratic success story. But opposition protesters fear this new constitution will push the country towards one-man rule. The BBC's Marina Dahas has more. Let's take a quick look at other stories making the headlines across Africa and the rest of the world. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta has promoted his former aide-de-camp as the new commander of the army with less than 3 weeks to the end of his second and final term. Major General Peter Mbongo Njiru was promoted to a Lieutenant General and replaces his predecessor who is set to retire. Only one woman was amongst the 20 military promotions that were announced by the president. A proposed new law to make vaccines compulsory for all adults in the event of a mass disease outbreak has been rejected by Uganda's parliament. The health ministry said the bill was designed to tackle emerging health threats like hemorrhagic fevers and wanted any rule breakers to be fined and face a 6-month jail term. But MPs raised concerns about the right of individuals to choose. African leaders will meet President Joe Biden in Washington in mid-December for the first major summit organized by the U.S. for the continent. President Biden has not visited any African country since becoming president. Analysts believe the meeting is part of American efforts to counter the growing influence of China in Africa and more recently inroads made by Russia on the continent. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19 and is isolating at the White House. The 79-year-old, who is fully vaccinated and has twice received booster jabs, is experiencing very mild symptoms and will continue to carry out all his duties, according to White House Press Secretary. First Lady Jill Biden has said she tested negative. Still to come on the program, Mimi will be here with all the sports, and it's a big night in sprint for African stars at the World Athletics Championships. Welcome back. Let's go to Rwanda now, where the capital Kigali is hosting a big event to talk about safeguarding African wildlife and conserving Africa's cultural heritage and traditions. Now, the International Union of Conservation of Nature, known as ICUN, is the first ever Pan-African gathering to address challenges to drive action for Africa. Well, I'm now joined by the IUCN Director General, Dr. Bruno Oberla, who's in Kigali. Dr. Bruno, what exactly are you hoping to achieve? It's a brilliant story. You're watching BBC Focus on Africa. Let's bring you some sports now. Mimi's here.
Lots indeed. Peter, the Confederation of African Football Awards tonight. It will be a glitzy affair as stars descend on the Moroccan capital Rabat to see who will be crowned the kings and queens of African football. BBC Sport Africa's Piers Edwards is there on the red carpet for us. Now, Piers, you know, lots of stars, as said, have been descending on the capital. Who have you seen and what's the atmosphere been like? All right, well, enjoy the awards, Piers. Peter, that's all the sport for now, I guess, that we've got.
Indeed. Are you putting your money on anyone, to any of the nominees to win tonight?
Well, we've seen Sadio Mane arrive, so I'm going to say a clue has always been when you see somebody arrive, that's them who picks it up. So I'm going to say it's Sadio Mane. And for the women's one, Aissatou Chouala is there. She was injured. She left early in the tournament. She's there as well, so I'm going to tip her as well to retain the award.
But it's not too late for Edouard Mendy or for Mo Salah to arrive in Morocco.
They would have arrived by now, I think. So it's always a clue from last time. When you see somebody arrive, that's who's picking up the award.
All right, we'll see what's happening tomorrow. Many thanks, Mimi. Thank you very much for walking Focus on Africa for today. Remember that you can follow me and some of the other members of the team on social media. As for me, I'm at Okwoche. But that's it from all of us here on Focus on Africa for today. We'll be back again with you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Hello there. Let's take a look at the satellite picture across the United States.